Recently I got back into AliExpress. I haven't used it in probably like 6+ years. If I remember right, the last thing I bought from them was probably some RC parts. I think it was like $20 worth of RC parts. And then prior to that, I don't know if it was on AliExpress or some other Chinese site, but I bought my CR10, back in the day when Core X Y machines weren't pretty much the norm now. So I recently got back on it, mainly because I was looking at things for my ants. That's actually what's been taking up a lot of my time now. I decided to get into caring for ants just because I always found them kind of curious, but as a kid I never was like, hey, let me get a jar and care for ants. But now as an adult, and I see some of the things used for taking care of them, interest has for them has taken over. So that's why I haven't been posting much. This was one of the first things I bought just out of curiosity, and I gotta say, I'm actually surprised by this. The plastic is pretty good. It's not thin walled. It's pretty heavy. If you drop it, and it may get a little bit dent, but nothing will happen to it. And it's also surprisingly, like, it produces a lot of light for it. Size. I was expecting this to be much more dim, but honestly, if you're in a pinch or an emergency, you could technically use it as like a little flashlight in the garage or that type of situation. I mean, it's definitely not going to be anywhere near the most basic flashlight, but if you only have this, you're just quickly trying to get something in the dark, I mean, it's not that bad. But yeah, this was like $1. So let me see what's next. I also bought, let me save those for later here. I also bought this. This was I think, oh no, this was free actually. I had to buy something and then I get 2 free things. These were one of the things that I picked to be free. It's one of those little multi-tool sets or multi-bit set. God, come on, man. Jesus Christ. As you can see and tell, absolutely bottom tier garbage quality, but it's free. So can you really complain? Come on, can you? Not really. So yeah, I mean, basic. Let me see, 25-in-1 mini screwdriver set, flathead and cross shaped S. But yeah, it's funny, it says 25-in-1 here, but it says 24-in-1 here, so anyways, not like it matters. The bits, I mean, they'll last you for a little bit. Again, expecting high quality from something like this that you got for free is kind of asking for too much. But again, if you're in a pinch or you just want, something like this to have it in like a camping bag or, I don't know, fishing box. If you want just a little set of bits to be anywhere, maybe a motorcycle bag, for example, just in case, for emergency, yeah, sure, drop this in. I mean, if you strip a bit, are you really going to complain? It's free. So yeah, it weighs barely anything. Up next, another product that I got for free. Okay, this is probably the world's smallest humidifier. See, spray volume 40 milliliters an hour, water tank capacity 180 milliliters. So I mean, it should last you a couple of hours. Product weight 63 grams. Rated input 5 volts, 500 milliamps. 68 millimeters by 68 millimeters by 92.5 millimeters. So, comes with a USB Type-C. So small that you'll probably never use it for this. So yeah, basic. Again, it's free. Can you really complain? I mean, plastic, yeah. I don't know how long it'll last with that, but again, free. Keyword, free. Oh, it also comes with a little manual that probably no one will ever use. This right here was the one thing that I bought to get those 2 other free things. So this is 6 amps. We'll see about that. As you can see, this is a USB Type-C cable. It's rated for 66 watts of fast charging. Will it actually meet that? Yeah. Exit out. Another thing. So my current phone, it doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I miss that. I deeply miss that. So I have some fancy headphones that I can barely use with it. Well, actually I can't at all because they're wired. I prefer wired headphones. I'm not so much into the wireless world yet. So this personally, I tested it already. It does act weird if you have YouTube open and you just plug it in. It causes YouTube to start spasming out. I have no idea why that is, but if you exit out of YouTube, or go to home and then go back into the YouTube app, it works just fine. So yeah, again, this was like a couple of dollars. It works. And I do know that they make fancier versions of this, so I'm going to use this for now, see how much I like the idea. If I like it, then that will be my little gateway or an excuse to actually buy some of the fancier ones. This right here is SHT40 sensor. It's basically a humidity sensor, and it's the housing for it. Well, I don't know if you can actually. Yeah, I guess you can say housing. It's completely coated. I'm trying to figure out what type of coating it is. Anyways, it's waterproof. And the reason why I wanted it to be like this in this format is because I'm thinking about putting this into an ant nest and just monitoring their humidity. Because their temperature, the way I have it set up, it's very regulated. It has like its own independent temperature controller, and it measures, like the temperature every like 5 seconds or something like that. So that's not what I'm worried about. I'm more worried about humidity, because from what I notice, humidity tends to be like a greater issue to result in the death of the colony. So yeah, bought this just to experiment with. This was like $3. Up next, this one I will admit I'm actually kind of excited about, even though I will never use the stock software that comes installed with this. I actually saw an article that talks about changing out the firmware in it to ESP Home. So what this is basically like a little, how do I word this? Like a little, I don't want to say fidget toy, even though, you know, you could fidget with it. It's kind of like a weather monitor. You stick it down here to whatever monitor you use, or maybe just have it stand to the side here, and it'll tell you like different parameters of your area, like, you know, temperature, weather, stuff like that. What I actually want to use this for is to monitor my connected appliances, basically the Wi-Fi thermometer that I have for my ants. I have my shrimp aquarium. It has lights. I want to be notified when they turn on and off, and other stuff like that, like my future integration of humidity tracking, stuff like that. And it'll be kind of nice having something here that just, you know, sits away from everything, doesn't take a lot of space. So yeah, this comes with this, another cable for it, the user manual, which again I doubt that anyone will actually use, because the minute that you turn this on, it's a QR code that just tells you to link up to your home Wi-Fi. God knows what software is running in here. So yeah, that's why I want to change the firmware. Next up, this drill bit. I have several of these, but none as big as this. So this goes all the way up to 35 millimeters. The ones that I have stop around 22. Why did I buy this? Well, the next two products are going to be connected to this, and it's related to my ants. This was $3.50, around there. If it can drill through acrylic, I am pleased. That's literally the only reason I bought this. Okay, so up next, I have these little test tube setups for ants. I bought these because the standard setup the ants have, where it's a cotton ball squeezed into a normal test tube, and there's like a little pocket here that has water. A lot of the times those things get moldy, and I just want to avoid that for the most part, and this has less of a chance to become moldy. And eventually it's just easier connecting this to like a little mini outworld, instead of transferring the ants and her first, you know, set of workers into a completely other setup. So that's why I bought the drill bit, so I can do a hole into whatever outworld I decide to use, then put some type of rubber grommet, and this will just slip in. The same goes with this bad boy. This is 30 millimeters. Yeah, 15 millimeters. The difference is there. So, you know, much bigger. As you can see, dirt cheap quality too, because you know some of the sand on the bottom, it's almost all falling out. This one's actually in a much better condition. Anyways, this was like $1.50 and this was $2.72, which, I mean, the glass alone is worth that to me. So yeah, I bought these just because I actually like using these for ants. I have used them in the past, and the only reason I bought more other than liking them was because the ones I had used in the past, thankfully it didn't happen when ants were inside of them, but they did fall because I was rearranging things in my room, and this part right here that holds water cracked and, well, it made them useless. So yeah. Up next, I bought this little storage box. I just thought the idea was neat, you know, having Lego, or you know, Lego inspired design. You can actually stack other boxes of these designs like on top of each other. This is how the bottom looks, and inside there's more crap that I got. First one, glass syringe. I bought this for $3.52, something like that. Reason for buying it, I was just curious. I wanted to try a glass syringe. There was nothing really making me have to buy this other than just curiosity of wanting to try it out. Oh, interesting. So yeah, I use these to refill the humidity chamber in some of my ants' nests. I tend to use just plastic ones, but again, wanted to go a little bit fancy and buy this glass one. No real reason for it other than just curiosity. Up next, an ESP for the humidity sensor. So this has a little screen on it. If I remember right, I think this is an ABC3, an ESP-C. Yeah, I remember this was like $3 around there. So yeah, has a little screen big enough to just say 40%, 80%, you know, just humidity percentage, and hopefully I'll be able to connect it to, you know, the internet and stream humidity data. So yeah. Up next, come on man, open up. I bought these for my Switch. So yeah, my Switch, it hasn't started drifting, but let me find it. From just years and years of use, this has happened. And honestly, the price between just replacing this versus just buying this wasn't that much. So yeah, I'm going to crack it open and install these. So yeah, as you can see, that was like my little way of taking care of this issue was buying a pack of these little covers for it. It's fine, but I prefer the feel of like the original. So yeah. Let me get these out of the way. And the last thing is, come on, another ant related product. So most queens ants, when you get them, they have enough stored. Oh, this is plastic. Oh, but this was glass. Anyways, back to this. So most queens, when they have enough stored reserves to feed their first set of workers. So, you know, getting them from all the other stages until they finally do look like normal ants. So once they actually do appear, you start feeding her. But there are some queens that don't have those reserves. For example, my drop jaw queen that I recently got, she needs to be fed. So feeding her in the test tube that she comes in is a bit problematic because the seller decided to use this much, like from here to here, for water. And then her actual space is like this much. So she tends to be very feisty. She has tried to escape, and taking the cotton ball from this end to, you know, sticking like 1/10 of a mealworm slice inside there is kind of like annoying. So I bought this, and my hopes is that she will move herself into it eventually. So comes with little covers for it. Come on, man, slide out. So yeah, you screw these down here. Right here you have a little feeding area that you can just drop the mealworm in there. Well, sliced of a mealworm. And you have your little, you know, covering for it so light doesn't disturb her as much. Right here you put in a water tube. I'll most likely use the big one. And yeah, and over here you can put maybe other food options, because you know it has that little tray there. But yeah, I'm most likely gonna use the hole on the top for feeding. This was, I think this may have been the second most expensive thing. This was $5.63. This was $4, I think, something like that. Again, most of these things I bought on sale, so that's why some of the prices seem kind of off, but it's because they were on sale for like a new person. So yeah, hope you liked watching this video of some of the otherly random crap that I bought. Keep an eye on the channel. I'll be doing more videos. As you can see, I'm not consistent on them coming out, but then again, you know, it's life. I don't do this professionally. So yeah, thank you for watching.
So here's the humidifier. I was trying to go back and forth whether to do this with the lights on or off, and it pretty much looks the same as far as humidity on the camera, but with the lights off you can see the RGB more. So here you go. Also, you can see the water actually. So yeah, I guess that's one benefit of it being, you know, thin walled and the color letting the RGB shine through.